This week's podcast is a little different because we're teaming up with Stephanie Odell, who we partnered with after Jack did an interview with her. She came to us because she liked our podcast platform and she didn't have anything like that. But she has a whole list of people she wanted to interview. And her first interview is with Deborah Chambers, aka Deborah Darling, who at age 59 became a model. And she's from Johannesburg, South Africa. And why don't you tell us, Jack, how you teamed up with Stephanie and how you brought her to Brand 50?
Well, Stephanie was a mutual friend. I met her through a mutual friend whom I interviewed, Sanford Marshall. He's AKA the wedding coach. And Stephanie and I, we kind of hit it off, did this interview, and she's a natural. I mean, I could tell when I interviewed her how good she was on camera, or doing the podcast interview with her. She just did a great job. She's a real natural. She connects with women. And I think it's something that you and I could use, moving forward, is having that dialogue in terms of, aging. As women age, they age differently than men. But I think it's been great to team up with Stephanie. And I really feel strongly that Stephanie is just a natural. And she did a great job with Deborah and Deborah's story.
Yeah, we could definitely learn a lot from her interviewing skills. That's for sure.
You and I are still working on that.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get there, but it's also nice to get a different perspective. I'm really looking forward to teaming up with her and waiting for her next interviews.
Yep.
Well, welcome. I'm so excited to be here today. I'm Stephanie Odell with Brand 50. I also have a company called Celebrate the Gray, and I'm working to change the face of aging for the 50 plus woman. And about a year ago, I met the beautiful Deborah Chambers, aka Deborah Darling. And Deborah is 58-year-old silver-haired grandmother, late blossoming model, and a show-off. Her fashion constantly inspires me to pull out my Converse and put them with a red suit, which is the image I always think of you when I want to show the joy that your clothing and your styling gives. And as a pro-aging ambassador who is older and braver. So part of my podcasting with Brand 50 is to bring inspiring women to the forefront for other women to hear your story. So Deborah, fill in a little bit of the gap of where you were and how you got to where you're at now.
So can I first say that I'm 59 now?
Oh, you just had a birthday this week. You just said that.
I just had a birthday. So I'm 59. So I'm heading for the 60 and I'm really looking forward to that. Where have I been? Well,
I know you were 25 years married, 20 years in a career, and then in your 50s, major pivot. So talk us through a little bit of that.
Yeah, I got divorced in my sort of mid 40s. And my daughter had grown up and left home. So I think it was around about that time that I started to rethink things. I was definitely feeling the pressure of, in my 49th year, I was definitely feeling the pressure of turning 50. But I think that we do feel that, it's a sort of a looming number for us. And I was definitely feeling it. And in that year, that was quite a difficult year. I lost a very close girlfriend and my much younger sister in the same 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it gives you pause for thought when you are heading for 50 and feeling bad about turning 50 when I'm the oldest sibling and I'm still here. Mm-hmm. So I think that was quite a wake-up call for me. And being divorced and being on my own and having to rethink my comfy life. I had a sort of a very standard, life. I had one child and just I had a career which I loved. I worked for a company I really loved. I loved the company. It was actually a company of all women, interestingly enough, about 50 of us. Very interesting. So lovely, nurturing environment. And I loved my work. I enjoyed my work. I worked as a technical writer mostly, and a software support person and a software tester. So in and around the IT industry, or IT departments. And I loved my work. I really enjoyed it. I guess I just thought there was something I needed to change. people always said to me when they said, "What do you do?" Because I always I always like dressing up and expressing myself through what I wore and my hairstyles and so on. And people always said, "What do you do? Are you a fashion designer or an interior decorator, or what is it you do?" And then when I said to them, "I work in an IT department," they were always quite shocked at that.
Right.
So I think I knew that there was something else, something more creative that I should possibly be doing. And that was the opportunity, I think, the being on my own and deciding that 50 wasn't that bad.
And do you have role models in your life for fashion and also aging with power, of people that you looked upon to be inspired to not kind of settle into what society told you 50 was?
Now I have a lot of people that I follow. I mean, I follow the most wonderful women on Instagram, a whole family of them. But at the time, no, I hadn't seen them. But I do remember something that happened, and I think it was that same year. And I did, in fact, post a picture on Facebook. I saw this woman in a magazine, still in a magazine, not on the internet. We weren't as much into social media then. And I saw this photograph of this woman, and I remember being completely and absolutely blown away by an image of a woman who, I think she was in her 70s then. She had clearly had grey hair. She was dressed in an interesting but elegant, and the first time I'd seen an older woman portrayed as an attractive, stylish, vibrant woman. And it made this enormous impact on me. I scanned the photograph.
Wow.
And I posted on Facebook the article. And she's Beatrix Ost. I don't know if you know her.
No,
I didn't know her then.
Yeah, tell me, is she still modeling or still around? Or did you ever meet her?
Yes. No. She's not local. I'm not sure where she lives actually, but no, I follow her, and I know she still pops up. But I remember I remember so vividly that I was completely taken with this photograph. I'd never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen an older woman portrayed in that way.
And how do you feel now that you're doing that for other women? Now you're that inspiration for other women, talking about coming full circle.
The thought that somebody might have that feeling when they see a photograph of me is absolutely overwhelming and amazing. And I really hope that I do that, because I think it did shift my whole perception about myself.
Yeah. I think that one thing I always say to people, women can't be what we can't see. So yes, we can't be modern and stylish if what society serves us is aging and anti-aging. All the the wrinkles, the gray hair, you have to get rid of that, and you can't be the person that you've growing into. You have to hang on to this 20 or 30 something self. So you definitely are giving that power to women in your styling and just the joy that you bring to photos. I mean, I know you photograph really well, and you can see it on the pages and in the posts and pictures of you, and it gives women that permission. So it must be very powerful for you to feel that.
Yeah. And I don't use filters and things on my photographs. And even with photographers, I say, don't take the wrinkles out. I know that they do lighten and brush a little bit, but always say to them, please don't think you have to, take the lines out. So my photographs are, I think they look like me.
Yes. And you also have quite a presence on social media, TikTok and Instagram, and some of your videos and postings of showing the real you without your hair done, without your makeup on, is super inspiring. And how did you get to that point? Because we're at you've left your tech job and how do you step into modeling? What happened? Oh,
so I left my tech job. I left my job and I went over to England, and I went to do some care work, caring for the elderly people, because I felt that I had to just really make a good break. So I rented my flat out to somebody, and I bought a ticket, and off I went to England to go. And I'd heard that you can do care work and so on. So off I went to do that. And by that time, my hair was silver. I'd given up that job. I did get another tech job then for a little while, but a lot of people started noticing my hair. Mostly, but then it kind of got taller and morphed into something close to what it is now. And my friends said, why don't you try modeling? Because people were literally stopping me in the street and saying, can I take a photograph of your hair? And you look amazing, and really, really beautiful, amazing things started happening. So I really did I honestly one night just thought, I just sent my photographs off to an agency. I didn't think anything would happen of it, would come of it. In fact, Liesel, my agent here in Johannesburg, tells a story now that she somehow my applications kind of slipped through the cracks, and she didn't get to it for a couple of weeks. And she phoned me and said, "Have you found an agent?" And I said, "No, I really didn't apply to anybody else, and I didn't. It was a whim, really."
Yeah.
So she said, "No, come and see me." So. And that's how it started. And I mean, I didn't have Instagram then. I just thought it would be some fun and a bit of extra money. So it was a little bit accidental, that part.
Well, what was your first modeling job? Do you remember?
My first modeling job was a TV commercial for a deodorant. Yeah. It was my first casting I went to, and I didn't know. Liesel sort of told me what happened at the castings, and off I went. And I didn't really even know. They sent me a message to say go to this casting, and I didn't really even know what that meant, if it was going to be a TV commercial or photographs. Anyway, I got that job, and I loved it. Such fun. Yeah. The cameras and the makeup and was beautiful. I had an enormous amount of fun on that set, and then continued with that. But I mean, the change came really when I opened my Instagram account. A friend said to me, and I had done a couple of modeling jobs, and friends had been asking me to do shoots for them, like photographer friends and so on. And a friend said to me, you need to put your photographs on Instagram. And honestly, I didn't know what it was. I said, what's Instagram? So I opened an account, and I couldn't work it out. I couldn't work out what the tags are about. But I thought it was sort of a place to keep my photographs. I thought it was a repository for my photographs. I didn't really understand what it was all about. So I started putting some photographs and getting to grips with the hashtags and what they meant and what they could do, and started getting followers, sort of quite surprisingly.
And they started today. I think you're like 48,000.
48 something. Mm.
Yes. And I have to say, that's how I met Deborah, because she inspired me so much on her photographs. And I reached out to her, direct messaged her about modeling. And that was before I opened the modeling agency, Celebrate the Gray modeling agency. But I reached out, and you were so kind and gave me advice. And so I know that that's how you've grown this amazing following, is being genuine and authentic and reaching out to people and building this community and making women feel heard. So that's
I do. I spend lots and lots of time on my social media, and I haven't grown it in any. I haven't done anything to grow it artificially at all. I think it's from the engagement. It's from talking to people. I answer every single message that I can, unless I've accidentally missed some. But I make an effort to answer every single message and read every single message and engage and talk to people. And if people are looking for advice, which often happens, to actually have a conversation with them. So it takes a lot of time. But I think that that is what it should be. It's a community. It's social. It's not. I think one has to, if you can at all, do it yourself. You have to.
Well, I know one of your blogs you wrote, having tribes for different phases of our life, and I think that's such an important message for women to hear, because you may have a vision of yourself that your friends don't have of you, or your tribe at the moment doesn't have of you. So can we talk a little bit more about that and how that's really helped you in your journey?
I think that social media and Instagram specifically has been a wonderful place for me to create this beautiful family of encouragement and support. And I mean, I get from them too. You know, it's not a one-way street. I mean,
Right.
the women, it's amazing. I have my Instagram family is almost more like-minded than many of my in real life friends. We're I find it the most beautiful community of like-minded supporting one another. So I think it's very important.
What type of questions do you get from women through Instagram? I mean, are the women are they sitting on the sidelines wanting to be more visible but don't know how to get started?
That's often it. They feel inspired to reach out to me to say that either they have done something of which they're proud, or ask me for suggestions of what I think, or what I, obviously I can't offer any real advice, but just encouragement about trying it, or stepping out of your box and giving it a go. But I get the most beautiful messages from women. I mean, it's just so touching, and so to think that they have done something because of me is just, or something I said. It brings tears to my eyes. It's incredible.
Did you envision that when you started this?
My goodness, no, not at all. I mean, I really, no. Not at all. I'm still surprised. No, not at all. I really just thought my photographs would be there, and I didn't realize until probably quite recently just the impact and how much we need. And as you said, the thought that maybe I'm Beatrix asked to other people. I mean, that is just the most beautiful realization, and why I do what I do, why I keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, you're part of, and as you spoke to this, you're part of this movement, this global, as you said, global resistance movement for women of all ages. I feel this ageism movement, not only is it for us in our 50s and beyond, but it's also for the younger generation. And you have a grandson, correct?
Yes.
So I know that you're the coolest grandmother around, but how powerful that is too, of this intergenerational inspiration.
Yeah, I have. It's interesting. Obviously, the majority of my family, my Instagram family, are older women, but it's very interesting when I meet young people and I talk to them in real life mostly, because we all feel the pressure of getting old, and we all feel that we're all anxious about getting old, even if we're 25. So it's quite lovely. The being on shoots is quite nice because I get thrown together with people that I would normally never ever have anything to do with, and I might spend a whole day with them or 2 days with them, and they could be any age. So striking up a conversation with young women is wonderful, and I want to be like you. I want to be like you when I'm big. And that's happened on TikTok too.
Yes.
Because I've got a much younger audience there. Well, it is largely a younger audience for younger platform. A lot of the comments are, "I want to be you when I'm big." And I take that as a huge compliment, because it gives people hope even when they're 20 or 25, because we are conditioned to think that once you're 50, you're done for.
Right. Well, the visual.
Terrible.
I always say that the role models have not been updated since probably the 50s. So, the 80 of 20 years ago is not the 80 of today. I do want to talk about TikTok 1 second. You have 82,000 followers on TikTok, and one of your TikToks has 2 million views.
Yeah, 3 of my videos went viral, and I haven't paid much attention to TikTok. I really do need to. I'm so short of time, though, at the moment. Yeah. I've had 3 viral videos. I think there was 1.7 million. I haven't looked recently, and a 1.4 million views on another one.
2 million.
One has 2 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was weird too. I posted a video, and it was the one with the no makeup. It was that magic. It was the, if
I think
yes, it was. It was the one where I started out with absolutely no makeup, nothing. My hair was down, and I was like, ooh, and I looked terrible. And then I sort of did this thing where I put my face into the makeup bag, and then came up, and everything was done, and my hair was done, and everything was done. I just did it as a fun thing, playing around, and I put it on, and I forgot about it, and I didn't have my notification switched on TikTok, so I didn't see. And I went away, and I thought, I really need to think about, what to do on TikTok and how to make it work. And then I met a friend who is actually in social media in Cape Town for coffee. And she said to me, have you looked at your TikTok lately? And I said, no. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do there. I need to think about the angle and how I'm. She said, you've had 1 million. By then it was already 1 million views.
Oh my God.
So I didn't know that at all. So yeah, that was fascinating. TikTok is such an interesting place.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because it is a younger medium. And so how do you get past the fear or I don't belong, or what advice would you give people, especially women or men and women over 50 on social media?
I just ignore them. When I started out, I had a little run-in with a young TikToker. He's 17, or was at the time. and he made this sort of, I don't know what they call it. There's probably a word that I'm too old to know. Like a revenge video or something. But I think that gave me a little bit of a bump, actually, because he's got a huge number of followers, and he was like, and he was quite horrible about me. So I made a retaliation video, and then it kind of went a bit silly for a while. But
that's hilarious.
I mean, the problem is none of us think we're going to get old, do we? I didn't either. And here I am.
We don't think we're going to get old. And then we also, there's so much fear around it, because we don't see the people like you and the people that are in their 70s and 80s that are vibrant and living full lives. So the power that you're giving other women, like I've said earlier, is going to change things, is going to allow people to kind of think about aging differently.
Yeah, I feel very, very lucky to have landed here and to be that voice. Just
you say luck, but you
amazing.
Created this. I mean, you really did.
I did.
I don't know if you visualized it and then started putting it out in the universe. I think that people don't realize the power of that.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
Beginning stages of kind of fake it till you make it attitude, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I am an influencer. I am inspiring other women, and I can own this. Yeah. Did you have that feeling starting this journey?
Yeah, I did. I started out, and I say that, and my boyfriend says to me, I say to him, it was inadvertent, because the beginning was inadvertent. I didn't think the modeling would come to anything, and I didn't think, and it sort of grew a life of its own. But I've put in loads and loads of work. It's not that that was for the first few months. Before I left my last job, I worked at another company for a couple of years. And I left them when I had 400 followers, and we were all cheering in the office. We were, yay, I've got 400 followers. And they were so excited for me. But even though it kind of happened in a way inadvertently, it has been, it's been loads, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I have been dedicated to, once I sort of started to understand what was happening, it's not that it just happened. It's my full-time job.
Right. And let's talk about your full-time job. So monetizing it, do you align with brands? What is the process for you right now with having that kind of following?
I have not worked with many brands at all. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the influencer space. So I've done a little bit of work with one or two brands, but I've resisted it largely because I am very, very serious about only talking about brands that I genuinely love and would choose to use and wear myself. I won't work with any anti-aging things. at all. I mean, they approach me a lot. I get offered so many laser treatments and things. All my friends think I'm crazy. Tell them I'll go, they say. So I have done none of that because I don't
want to promote that.
I don't want to promote that. It's because I don't do it. So it wouldn't be real.
Right.
And we bandy around this word authenticity all the time, but so it's become a bit old and stale. But I absolutely want to be completely genuine in my message always. So I haven't worked with brands, but I'm working on another way because I have to monetize it. It's my full-time job. Right. I mean, I can't, it is quite literally my full-time job. I can't, people say to me, you could get, because this year's been tough. It's been very tough. Yeah. There's been very little modeling work. And my friends say to me, well, you could work and do this part-time. I can't see myself doing that because it is too much. It is really my job. So the plan is that because people ask me, I've sort of approaching it from a different angle. It's brand new, hoping it's going to work, is because people always want to know what I'm wearing and where I got it from, is to create a very small collection of things in a shop so that people know that if they like my style, they will find things that I love there. And those things will only be the things that I love, that I would love to wear and will wear. So I'm trying to do it a little bit differently instead of promoting brands, as it were.
Just to promote brands things that you love and you would love to have other women know about.
Yes, and but to choose those and to choose from the 10 handbags in the range, to choose the one or two that I love and that I would wear, so that everything in the shop is a Deborah Darling thing.
Right. We didn't talk about, you're in Johannesburg, South Africa. So are these brands that are in South Africa supporting them?
So it's brand spanking new. I've spent the last few months building the website and navigating all of the administrative things like payment gateways and export codes and all the rest, things that I knew nothing about. So it will be, I hope for it to be mostly South African brands. Yes, that would be ideal for me. At the moment, I've only got 3 things in the shop. It's very new, and my job now is to get my favorite brands and things in there. One of the things that I wear, those things are things that I do wear, and when I wear them, people say, "Where'd you get those from?" So that's what's going in the shop. And those kind of things.
Monetized on that, so you're able to see a percentage of the sales. In order to
Yeah. Well, that'll be my shop. I will sell. So I will buy them at the wholesale price and sell them and export them. And I found that a lot of the smaller makers here in South Africa don't have the facility to be able to export, and they don't have payment gateways for other currencies and so on. So I've set all of that up. That will help them hopefully to spread their products further afield. That's my hope.
Yeah.
But I want it to be and very much a soft, a thing of, I love your earrings. Where are they from? And you can say, well, they're in the shop. That kind of thing, not something that I'm taking advantage of my followers because I'm trying to sell something all the time.
Right.
So it's a fine balance because I do have to pay my rent.
Right. Well, it's a fine balance because you care. I mean, there are many influencers that you see hawking everything and anything. So I think it just talks to your integrity of what the mission that you're on. You're not out to take advantage of anybody. You really are genuine and authentic. Sorry, I love that word.
I know it's an overused word, but I want that. I want to say I wear these and I love them. This is the bag I love.
Yep. And the earrings, aren't the earrings you have on part of the?
These are actually, these are I wear these all the time. Yeah. Yep. These are actually the one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So listeners can find that at deborahchambers.com.
Oh, Deborah Darling.
Oh gosh. That was my follow-up question. Where did Deborah Darling come? You are Deborah Chambers, AKA Deborah Darling. So deborahdarling.com. But where did that
I
name
know.
come from?
So funny. You know, I didn't make it up. They used to call me that at work.
Oh, so it was way back.
Yeah, yes, probably 20 years ago, and it just became a thing. And everyone called me Deborah, Deborah, darling, morning, and then the next thing I knew, on the phone list, when we still had phone lists, I don't know if you do in offices anymore. Everybody else had their name, but I was Deborah, darling. My parking bay had Deborah, darling, the sign. It was the strangest thing, and so I adopted it.
It's fantastic,
and I'm using it, and it's interesting because. I think it's interesting because I didn't make it up.
No, that's how others see you. I mean, that's the power of it, how other people see you. And it is a joyful name, and your pictures kind of exude that joyfulness. But I have to say, I looked at a lot of pictures of you and looked from past, and you honestly are aging backwards. So how are you doing this? Like, what's your regime? What's your skincare regime? What's your style regime? Where do you get your inspiration? I mean, it feels like you said it's just kind of who you are, but honestly, I looked at a picture from probably 20 years ago when you had blonde hair to now, and I thought you were aging backwards.
I don't know. I don't know. My skincare routine is very simple. I mean, I make sure that I wash my face in the mornings and the evenings. I never go to bed with makeup on, that kind of thing. And I use a very, very simple moisturizer that's formulated for sensitive skin, because I have very sensitive skin. I'm prone to dermatitis and rashes and all sorts of things. So I can't use active ingredients on my face. So I use a very mild moisturizer day and night, the same one, day and night. And I wear sunblock. I make sure to wear sunblock every day. And that's all I do. I've got lots of wrinkles. I do have lots of wrinkles. I do have lots of wrinkles. I don't know. Am I aging backwards? I don't know.
I was just shocking to me, the pictures. Also, you found fitness later in life, or you returned to fitness later in life. So you can, the healthy, your health shines through. Let's say it that way.
I wonder if it is that. I wonder if it is being active, perhaps. I mean, I think that being active is good for our skin. I wasn't active at all. I was a couch potato. I was quite overweight, actually, quite overweight, probably about 20 kilos more overweight than I carry more weight than I am now. And I didn't move at all. At all, unless to run to the fridge for chocolate. I don't know, back. And I started my fitness journey in the year I turned 50 as well, the year leading up to my 50s as well. And I'm not as active now as I have been with lockdown and so on, but I've even done a full triathlon.
I mean, that's amazing. And I think too that you started in your 50s doing this, because I think we get caught up in, I can't start fitness on that level in my 50s.
No, absolutely not. I don't believe that at all. And I think actually the key to appearing youthful is, I don't want to say looking younger, because I don't know if I like that, is one of the things is being active. I think it definitely is. I think that it improves our posture, and poor posture, and not being flexible and not being able to move easily is very much more aging than a wrinkle.
What kind of advice would you give to those 50 plus women that are listening about starting a journey in midlife?
Just start small. Just do something very, very small. When I started my fitness journey, I literally started walking around the block in the mornings before work. And that got a bit boring. So I started to sort of run to the lamppost or run to the dustbin or something. That turned into, I've even got a bicycle and, lots of medals for doing different runs and swims and things. So just to start and to know that it is not too late. It's absolutely not too late to start something. I'm following a lovely woman on Instagram called Train with Joan.
Oh,
She
I
was
know Train with Joan.
you
She's
know her. She was 70. Amazing, 72, and she completely turned her body and her fitness. I mean, incredible.
yes.
And
I
also
think that's-
Ernestine Shepherd, who's in her
Yes,
80s, although
Ernestine.
she's always been doing it. But if I look at her, I mean, she looks amazing.
Right.
So
I think that's-
full of life.
Do you feel that other women, seeing those women, I think that I always encourage people to find some people to start building a community on Instagram and then hear their stories, because their stories are so much like your own story, but you only look at the end of where they're at this point versus knowing how they got there.
And it's scary. I mean, it is scary to start something new. Even riding a bike, you know, I'd never. It's daunting, and you're nervous making a fool of yourself because you don't know how the gears work, and I fall off a lot, but I seem to fall off. I don't know. But you just to my advice is just to start to make one tiny move in the direction, you know, in which you want to go.
So I know that your style, I want to briefly touch on your style because it's super fun and it's got a little bit of edge to it. But I know you talk about have a wow piece and helping women get started on that. Any encouragement or any advice you can give women if they've been dressing the same way for 50 years or kind of stuck in a rut?
I think that I don't dress according to fashion. I think that I definitely don't. I'm not a slave to fashion. I wear the things that I love, but I do think that we have to take heed of that. And as you said, if you've been wearing the same styles and the same shapes and the same colors for years and years, it might be time to relook it, because they do date, and they will date us. Same with hair and makeup and so on. So we do need every few years just to check in that we are not dating ourselves. In terms of a wow piece, I don't know. And I think it takes a bit of bravery sometimes to, you know, you might have some super fabulous big earrings, or I don't know, an amazing necklace.
Wearing color for somebody that's never worn color.
Absolutely. 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 And we're a bit nervous to stick out.
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, it's a little bit like, oh, you know, you look nice in that, but people are a little bit anxious about sticking out. But I like to think that you can't be overdressed. You know, and if people want to look at you and think that you look crazy, well, they're probably going to be judging you anyway. So
I love that when you say that, because it's true. We get so caught up in people judging us. It's like, who cares? And I think as we age, we feel better about that. So you've started the Deborah Darling shop, a little shop, Darling. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where would you like to be in 10 years?
Well, I'd love for my little shop, Darling, to be a beautiful space where everybody who sort of knows me knows that that's where they can go and have a look and see if there's something lovely in there. And I hope I'm still riding my bike. I really do. I really want to be that. What will I be? I'll be coming up to 70. I want to be riding my bicycle and doing fun things with my grandson. He and I do ride our bikes together. That's what I want to do, and I believe it's possible. And obviously, excluding any big health issues, which can happen, but apart from a very big health issue, it's absolutely possible to. I believe that to be riding your bike, swimming in races. It doesn't have to stop. I think that's something that we've bought into. We've bought into the fact that our knees are going to creak. Our knees aren't going to creak if we keep active.
Right. And just hearing other people doing it, it's, again, we can't be what we can't see. So
yes,
it's amazing what that visual will give to other women. So I have four final questions that are kind of at the end of every podcast that I like to ask. So what 3 women, dead or alive, would you like to have dinner with?
So I lost my baby sister. Well, baby sister, she was 37 in the year turning 30. That was almost, it was 10 or coming up to 11 years ago. So my sister, Nick. I'd love to talk to Winnie Mandela. I saw the documentary about her life recently, and I saw her in a whole different slant. So I'd invite Winnie Mandela. And then I'd invite my daughter, because my daughter and I are very, very close. And I think she'd love to talk to Nick and Winnie. So it would be us four.
All right. And what does an ideal day look like for Deborah Darling?
An ideal day. Well, I start off with
the
some.
I think.
Yeah, well, I start off. I do try to do some form of exercise every weekday. I try to make sure I do, even if it's just a walk or something. But normally I get to the gym. An ideal day. Oh, can I go thrift shopping, please?
Yes, please. Can I come with you? We didn't talk about that, but talk about adding some interest to your outfits with some vintage pieces.
Yeah, or thrifted pieces. I don't buy a lot of clothes at all. I buy basics and then I sort of do something crazy with them. Yeah. You know, I don't. Yeah, so vintage is lovely. And I can change the buttons or.
What advice would you give your 30-something self?
Don't worry, it's going to get better.
And finally, what are you watching on Netflix?
Do you know I haven't got television?
Oh, boo.
So I do occasionally.
Okay, what are you reading then? What are you reading? Any books that you would recommend?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm not doing a lot of. I am reading How to Be Anti-Racist. That's the book I'm reading at the moment. It's very, 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 very interesting. One of the books I was recommended. But really, I'll tell you what I'm doing with my time at the moment is I'm documenting my life.
Wow.
Mainly for my daughter, because my parents died before she was born, and I moved around a lot as a child. So my life was, I don't know if it was interesting, but it was not typical. Went to lots and lots of schools in different countries, and I want to leave, and I would like to write down so that she knows a little more about my family and about my childhood. So I don't know if anyone else will ever want to read it, but that's what I'm doing with my spare time at the moment. Is I'm going back and remembering and making a note of all the places I've been and the people I've met and the things I've done.
And what does your daughter think about all this?
She's very excited because it's also, I'm a bit of a collector of bits. I'm quite sentimental about bits and bobs in I call it my museum. And so it's also part of telling her where the little things came from. I've got 3 little elephants, for example. I've got 3 little elephants, 2 little wooden chaps and a little pottery one. And they were my great-granddad's. And he was in the First World War, and I think they came from Burma. So things like that, I want to write that down because I don't want that to be lost.
Right.
I don't want those 3 little elephants, the history of those, to be lost. So that's what I'm doing it for. And she's very excited.
Well, I would love to see you do a fashion book or just photos of you and how you style yourself would be amazing in a book form. So
there's an idea.
That on your list. Also, I think
a
movie about your journey would be super inspiring, a documentary. So we'll keep talking about those things.
Have you seen my 1 minute? There is a 1 minute documentary about me. Have you seen it?
I don't think. Is it on your Instagram?
It will be, but it'll be far down. I'll send you the link.
Send me the link. But
it's
so just for our listeners, again, DeborahDarling.com. She's Deborah Darling on Instagram, TikTok, and check her out because you will be so inspired and you will think about Converse tennis shoes differently. And about adding them into your, you're never too old to wear anything you're comfortable in. And
Absolutely.
Just learning how to incorporate it into your style.
Yeah.
But any parting words you have for our listeners? I thank you so much for being here today.
I want to tell you something about my Converse. Do you know that they draw me? They help me to make friends with younger people.
I would.
It's so interesting because and young men, because obviously men and women wear them. So you'd be amazed at the number of young men. Like, wow, you're in Converse, and then we started a conversation. It's amazing. So clothes can really do that.
It's the first line for people to kind of figure out who you are and what you're about.
Yeah.
So it
breaks barriers. It's fabulous.
Yes. Well, I love your style. You know, I love you. You inspire me. So I so appreciate you being here today on the Brand 50 podcast with me and talking about being 50 and being fabulous and embracing your age and aging with power. You're doing it amazingly. And
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your kindness and your friendship. Thank you so much. And thanks for inviting me.
Of course. And be safe and be well. And
thank you.
Thank you. So this is Stephanie Odell, Celebrate the Gray, signing off from Brand 50 with Deborah Darling. So check her out. If you want to be inspired, check out her Instagram, her TikTok, her website. And thank you. Have a beautiful day and see you soon.
Thank you.